The trade felt like a coronation. A new city, a new stage, a new super team, and the assumption that the rest of the league was supposed to fall in line. Instead, it turned into one of those stories where the idea was bigger than the reality. Big names, bad chemistry, and a move that looked unstoppable until the game started. Welcome to the Trade Rewind. Let's get into it.
All right, we got a good one for you today. It's an NBA one. It's one of these trades that, because of how it turned out, people just kind of forget about it. And it's one of those that, unless you were really paying attention, you don't even really remember. But that's why I liked it. It was kind of random. But at the time, this was a big, big trade.
Yeah. All right. Let's do
All right,
it.
this player was born in Atlanta, Georgia, 1985. He was the son of athletic parents. Father was a basketball coach. Mother played college ball. Grew up in a deeply religious household. And he dominated youth basketball early just with his rare size and athleticism. He goes to high school in Atlanta Christian Academy, leads them to a state championship. Senior season averaged 25 points, 18 rebounds, 8 blocks.
Nice.
Was considered the number one high school player in the country. This might give it away. He skipped college and went directly to the NBA draft.
Yeah.
2004 draft. Who was
Dwight
it?
Howard?
Dwight Howard. Good stuff. Right on it.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not sure. In my head, even from the second it was a center from Atlanta,
It's hard not to think of Dwight.
Yeah, I was thinking it's got to be Dwight. I didn't know for sure that he was from Atlanta, but then obviously the skipping high school.
If I'm not mistaken, he's one of the last players ever to go straight out of high school. I have to do more research. I'm pretty sure the last player ever was Lou Williams.
That could be.
And I think Dwight was one of the last.
You know what's funny about the Lou Williams and Monte Ellis who we were just talking about is that they were late, they were second round picks. Monte Ellis went 40th overall and Lou Williams went 45th overall.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, I do think it was such a different time.
I guess if you're really not a school guy also, or if you want money right away.
Right. It depends what situation you're in. There's also by the way, going later undrafted sometimes is a good thing because you get the free agency earlier. You get your second contract sooner. You might not get the big first contract.
Yeah.
Your second contract's bigger.
Well, it's interesting. Braylon Mullins of UConn, who hit that insanely famous shot against Duke.
Yeah.
Which will go down as one of the greatest shots in March Madness history.
Yeah. I mean, anytime you can knock out Duke.
If they won the championship, I think it would have been immediately considered the greatest shot.
I mean, you can't beat the Nova one to win the championship.
The Nova one was...
The one against Houston. What about the putback dunk?
Yeah, that's a good one. The Christian Laettner one, obviously.
But that wasn't in a championship.
No, but it was still in
It's a great shot, and it's a known shot.
Well, a lot of people were talking about, where this ranks and whatever.
Yeah.
The big difference with Mullins is that his shot, they were losing. They were down 2.
That's such a great point, and I think those shots are clutcher when you're down.
Yeah.
Also, I mean, I don't know if I can remember just being so, shocked because the game was over. They were done. They were dead. And then all of a sudden he has the ball and a shot to win it. It just happened so fast.
Right.
And he shot it so confidently, and it went also straight net. It's rare in those big shots to get a perfect switch. It was the perfect way you can draw up a game winner to knock out Duke. It's just the great story. It's sad it didn't end with a championship, but I agree. I mean, I don't know how you can top that. The only things I think that can top it are ones to win national championships. Those are unbelievable.
But the Nova one, it was a tie game.
It was a tie game, but it was to win a national championship.
Yeah.
The way he hits the shot and then the fireworks go off and the confetti comes down.
It's really cool.
That's unbelievable.
Of course. Also, it was
champions for the championship. How can you not be romantic about basketball? That's a baseball thing, but still.
I'm biased, obviously, but that shot, and obviously amazing shot. I don't want to take anything away from it, but it was a less impressive shot too. It was just an open
trail three. This was, just a deep logo bomb.
Right. Not expecting it. And you just the ball's in your hands and he just rips it.
I can't Caravan to not shoot it himself to like pass it back was pretty crazy.
Yeah. Boozer was closing in on him.
Yeah. I mean, it was almost the exact spot where Dame hit his shot from, right? Like
Yeah.
the sidestep.
Yeah. Anyways, this was a whole tangent to get to a different tangent that it was, at first the assumption was that he was just going to go straight, right? That Mullins was going to go to the NBA. He's going to be drafted 15th overall. And then there were some rumblings and an interview with Hurley, and Hurley said, there's some questions, right? Like, number one, does he even enjoy college? Like, if he likes college and he likes being here, in this day and age, he's going to make more money with his NIL that he would have made if he got drafted 15th.
Right. And that's the big thing right now is that if you're not going top 10, why not come back and get 5-6 mil to play college one more year?
Yeah.
The only thing I'll say to that is, and it's a good point that people make. One is injury. If you get injured in college and now you're not going undrafted, like that's bad. Two is that's another year away from your second contract. The big contract in the NBA is not the first one. It's getting to your second contract. That's when you get the max. That's when, if you're an all NBA player or that's where you get your money.
Right. It gives you an opportunity to get more max contracts.
Exactly. So the sooner you get into the system and get your first contract, the sooner you can get to your second one. It happens to be Braille Mullins. I don't think he's going to be a max contract guy. So it could be going back to college and getting 6-7 mil and then being a top 10 pick instead of a 15. That makes sense.
Yeah. And we've also seen guys shoot up draft boards in the UConn system, right? Like Stephon Castle was drafted.
He's a one and done.
He was one and done,
and he was a freak athlete. So I don't really consider that.
Klingon was 2 years.
Okay, and he ended up being a pretty top pick, right?
Hawkins was 2 years. He's not so good in the NBA, but he went from like not playing as a freshman.
Are you sure about that? Hawkins played 2 years? I thought he was one and done.
No, that's why, because he literally everyone's like, oh, this is like a high recruit. He'll play. Didn't play as a freshman.
Right.
And as a sophomore, went off.
And listen, you're getting solo ball in 2 years back.
Yeah, it's
bad news.
Crazy.
I think in today's day and age, you're going to have guys stay.
Yeah.
It's going to happen more and more. And I like it. I want guys. I think the NBA draft should only be 24-year-olds. Like, let's have all these guys who are developed already and you know what they are. These 18-year-olds get drafted and no one knows that they're actually that good.
That's what it used to be.
That's how this conversation started.
Yeah. So anyways, that's the difference now, obviously. If now there's less of an advantage to go to the NBA. So Lou Williams, Monte Ellis, either they were worried about school or they just were trying to get their first contract as soon as possible. So even though they're going to go in the second round, come anyways.
Right. I mean, you're going to see more and more guys. I do love the one thing NIL has brought. I know there's a lot of issues with NIL and people jumping around. One thing it has brought is we're going to have guys staying in college. Like, why not get your bag, play another year? Like, I like that. But I would like it more if you get only one transfer. I want to see guys stay on the same team for 3 years.
That's what they're pushing for.
Right. I don't want to see a guy get, 4 different years, 4 different colleges and get 5 mil each year or whatever. I want to see a guy build so that when he's a senior, like, wow, look at this team. They've been together for 4 years. Like, look what they're going to do. That's what it used to be.
I 100% agree. And I think that's the next step. And the only caveat I would say is if your coach leaves, you should be allowed to transfer just that year.
I agree with that too. I think you should get one transfer, no questions asked. If you do a second one, you have to sit out a year. Unless if a coach leaves / gets fired or leaves, then you get a free transfer again. You get one transfer, and if a coach leaves, you get another one.
Right. A bonus one.
Yes. It doesn't count against you.
Yeah. Okay.
We're in agreement.
We're in agreement here. And
one more thing. What about multi-year deals? Why don't we sign a guy to a 3-year NIL deal? Let's sign him. Hey, we want you for 4 years at UConn. We'll give you 25 mil right now.
Well, I think that's where you're getting into. There's no collective bargaining. There's no players association. There's no one necessarily enforcing these contracts.
Right.
And that's when you run into issues.
Well, the scare is like we're just going to be the G League. Like let's just make a league.
I mean, we saw a quarterback. I think it was the Washington quarterback that he announced he was going to Washington, and then someone offered him more money, and he said he was going there somewhere else. And Washington was like, "We're going to sue you. You signed a contract."
Right. There's a lot of scummy behavior with NIL. I mean, but let's be real. That is college sports. All right. It used to be duffel bags hidden in cars. So now it's just recruiting guys when they're under contract.
Yeah.
It's all college sports has always been scummy. and some like it used to be secretly paying them, or all of a sudden the mom has a new house. So there always has been some of that stuff. Now it's just you're allowed to pay upright, so it's different kinds of scummy behavior.
Yeah, I mean, it's the Wild West out there. That's why I wouldn't be upset if something from government action sticks, but I know there's a lot of feelings
Right.
towards that. So,
All I know is I love the drama.
yeah.
I love the drama. All right.
Anyways, to answer your question, the 2005 CBA that took effect for the 2006 NBA draft,
That was the final one that high schoolers could get drafted.
2005 was the final one they could get drafted.
Was it Lou Will?
Ryan, Monte Ellis, Lou Williams, and Amir
So
Johnson.
they're all part of that. Okay.
So they were all 2005.
Technically, Amir Johnson was the final pick in that draft, who was a high schooler, so he's considered the last one.
Right.
But they're all part of that draft. All right. Anyway, back to regular scheduled programming. We got our UConn talk in, so good about that. All right. So 2004 is the year. The Magic had the number 1 overall pick, and it's a no-brainer. They take Dwight Howard. He develops into a superstar pretty quickly. He wins 3 straight Defensive Players of the Year, 2009 to 2011. In 2009, he made the NBA Finals and lost to the LA Lakers, Kobe's Lakers.
Right.
They actually started like this new era, but they were a little before their time, I think. But basically what they did was we have Dwight Howard, this great defensive player who gets a ton of blocks, and dunker and beast and monster. Let's just surround him with a bunch of shooters so they can't help off of him.
Right.
They can't double him. So he a little before their time, because nowadays that's how it works.
Wasn't JJ Redick on that team?
JJ Redick, Hedo Turkoglu, that whole crew of a bunch of shooters with Dwight Howard. From 2004 to 2009, good things are happening. He's very happy. They're winning games. They make the finals. 2009, 2012, they couldn't build around him. They couldn't get him a second star. They had coaching changes, front office turnover, not a great roster. And eventually Dwight Howard was fed up with it and asked for a trade. The Magic, this is the coming off the lockout season. So they went 37-29, and they were a playoff team, but they weren't a contender. They got beaten in the first round, and he publicly requested a trade. He has 1 year left in his contract, so they decided, like, we don't want to lose him for nothing, so it's time to trade him. Meanwhile, the LA Lakers, they just went 41-25. They were looking towards like their post-Kobe. Like, who's going to be our next, like, who we building around? They already just signed Steve Nash for free agency, and they saw this Steve Nash, Kobe, Dwight Howard, big three at the future, and Dwight Howard being the guy after Kobe and Nash. This is where it gets interesting. Part of why I did this trade also is that there's a lot of teams involved. Denver Nuggets were involved in this trade. They were just looking to move assets and wanted a perimeter player. We'll talk about who they got. And then Philly was involved as well. All right, let's talk about the trade. This is one of the biggest trades at the time ever. 4 teams. The Lakers received Dwight Howard. The Magic received Andrew Bynum, Aaron Aflalo, Al Harrington, and Nikola Vucevic. The Nuggets received Andre Iguodala, and the Sixers received Jason Richardson. And eventually, I think Bynum got sent there too.
Yeah.
He never ended up playing for Orlando. He gets sent to the Sixers. This trade at the time, people forget this because it's like a little footnote in history, because as we're about to talk about, Dwight only plays there 1 year. It becomes a colossal failure, and he leaves in free agency. But at the time of this trade, people were saying the league is broken. This is a super team. This isn't fair. Kobe, Steve Nash, 2-time MVP, Kobe, and Dwight Howard, they're going to dominate the league. And you know who is the loser of the trade at the time? The Magic. They were like, they received nothing. Right? Bynum never even played for them. They were like, you guys, what are you even doing? You gave up Dwight Howard for nothing. So it was just interesting thinking back on this trade, and a trade that most people don't even remember Dwight Howard that year on the Lakers because there were some injuries.
Yeah.
And they really only remember him coming back to Lakers with LeBron and winning a finals.
Right.
Bubble ring. Some people call it fake. But when you think back on it, Dwight Howard was the top center. He was up there, and Kobe was still Kobe and Steve Nash. Like this was such a big swing.
Yeah, it's funny because I feel like we've had this a lot, right? It's kind of a common theme where you think they're putting together a super team, but they're not because whatever pieces don't click, these guys don't work well together, and then the whole thing just ends up getting dismantled.
Well, it's interesting because this was like way closer to the beginning of the Big Three era, right? So the Big Three era is when teams started building Big Three. It started with the Celtics with their Big Three.
Right. The Celtics worked. The Heat worked.
And then there's like the Big Three era continues with a bunch of teams trying. And it even extended almost to like 2020, where like you still have like Harden, Durant, and Kyrie.
Yeah.
Or you still have
disaster.
All these teams trying to build these big threes. And so that was an era. Like, because the way it works is when you win, it's a copycat league. So teams try to do the same thing you did.
Even the Suns just tried to do it, no?
They didn't. KD, Beal, Booker.
Terrible.
They tried to do it. So it's a copycat league. When one team wins, you try to build like the way they did. So it became the Big Three era. If you want to win, build a Big Three. Get 3 superstars, pay all the money to them, and then fill around with some random, cheap guys or veterans or rookies so you can afford everyone.
Right, the veteran minimum.
But now it happens to be like right now, that's broken, right? The Big Three era is dead. Now it's about the depth era, right? The Thunder playing 10 guys. The Pacers just made the finals playing 10 guys. The Celtics won a finals with a big roster of depth.
Right.
Now we're in the depth era.
And tank and trade and get as many draft picks as you can and build through the draft.
Build through the draft.
Do you see the Jazz owner on McAfee?
What do you say?
He's basically like, I mean, he didn't say it straight up.
They have a ton of picks because they've aged. Like, that's their chill.
Yeah, he basically said, like, they were like, so you got fined for tanking. And he was like, yeah.
It's worth it.
Have you seen, like, every good team and how they got good?
Yeah.
It's because they tanked.
Right. I mean, also, sometimes they trade a guy for 5 picks, like the Thunder.
Listen, if you luck into a guy and you can trade Paul George, you're
Yeah.
the maker of dynasties, then...
The dynasty maker, agree.
Right. Like, okay, fine, you might get lucky, but if you're just a team in Utah that no one wants to play for and no one's coming there, then this might be the only way to do it. And hope maybe, if who'd they trade? They traded Donovan Mitchell.
Yeah, and Gobert for a lot of picks.
Right. So, like, they're still doing it.
Yeah, it's interesting. We talked about this before of the original protected pick, right? The Celtics were the beginning of the protected pick.
Yeah.
First one to do it. I think that is the biggest reason why teams are tanking now. They trade picks. The Jazz, for example, and a couple of other teams, they have picks that they don't own but are top 8 protected.
Right.
So then they had to tank to make sure that they get a top 8 pick. So I think the NBA should do away with protected picks because so much of tanking is like we got to get top 4 or else we're going to lose our pick. So I think the NBA should do away with it. We can't get in the whole tanking thing because we'll never end.
Yeah.
I think Adam Silver is going to do something about it. He is a doer. I respect that. I do think he's going to make moves.
Tournament.
Probably a tournament. That's his favorite thing. So we don't know exactly what he'll do, but something. I saw a great one. Did you see this thing about the beer prices?
No.
It was basically once the season starts, every win, your price of beers go up 25 cents, and every loss, it goes down 25 cents. So by the end of the season, Washington Wizards, who are like 6-70, their beers are like 25 cents. So like, at least they stink, but the fans are all getting wrecked. And then, OKC Thunder, their beers are $20, but like they're expensive to get there anyway because they're winning.
Yeah.
Interesting.
There's a great episode of The League. It might be honestly the pilot of The League. You know The League?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's the pilot. It's a show about a fantasy football league, and they're determining who's gonna pick in what order for the draft next year. And the way they do it is they go to a little kid's birthday party, and the kids are having a potato sack race.
Oh, I've seen this.
And they're all assigned
A kid.
to a kid.
That's great.
Maybe they should just do that. A 30-person potato sack race,
Yeah.
And whoever finishes first gets the first pick.
That's a good one. I just saw Adam Silver he was on Part of My Take. He was on another podcast, a competitor.
Yeah.
Not really. He was on another podcast, and they were just messing with him because obviously the Cooper Flag pick. They were like, what would help tanking? maybe if a team with a 1% chance to get the number 1 pick gets it, because then tanking doesn't work anymore.
Yeah.
And they were making fun, but it is true. They had changed the odds to make it where tanking is less like worthwhile, and teams are still doing it because this year's upcoming draft has 6 guys or 5 guys who are projected like who could have been 1 picks in most years. So I think this year was an anomaly because there's such a good draft class. They think we'll see if it actually is, but either way,
Yeah. I
tanking
mean,
bad.
the thing I've noticed with draft classes normally is that they don't know who's going to be good, right? So there's 3 guys or 4 guys who are in the running to be the first pick this year, and they're all very highly touted prospects who would go first overall in most other drafts. But they don't know which one is going to be the actual,
Which one's gonna actually hit?
who's going to be the superstar, but you know that overall the talent pool is way above a normal year, and that overall you're going to see more all-stars in this draft. The question is who's who. That we don't know, and we won't know for 10 years.
Right.
But-
I mean, because even like people were saying, you remember the comments? Someone was like, Cooper Flag would go 7th in this draft. You're crazy.
Cooper Flag would go first in this draft.
Yeah, and if you look, and by the way, last draft was not considered a great draft class, and we already have 3 guys who already look like legit ball players. I mean, VJ Edgecombe just put up 30 in a playoff game.
Yeah.
So, and Cooper Flag, Con Knibble. So there's a lot of good. You never really know who's gonna hit, who's not gonna hit.
You know, though, like the Anthony Bennett draft,
Okay,
it was like Giannis was the
what's
only
your-
good player.
What do you think about Boozer? Like, it's unknown. How can you like?
No. That's my point. You don't know. We just know overall it's a good draft.
Right.
We don't
We
know
don't know
who
who's gonna
exactly will be the good
Right.
players and who's going to be a bust.
I think Boozer is the biggest question mark in that draft.
Yeah,
Could be Jokic.
I've been
Or
hearing a lot of
instinct.
Boozer hate.
A lot of people hate him because he's unathletic and he's not so flashy.
He's very strong, though.
He's 6'10" and he could shoot threes and he could pass and he could finish and he could post. He's just not like an ISO player, really. But if you look at his numbers and his true shooting percentage, they're Jokic-like.
Yeah.
So-
I feel about Boozer, and obviously I could be completely wrong, but it's kind of feels like one of the guys that people are overthinking, right? Like we talked about this with Luka, where he's dominated at every single level. All we've seen him do is ball. He's extremely skilled. Like he wins at every level, but I don't know. He plays in Europe and he's not so athletic and
Well-
this and that. And like you find excuses, but at the end of the day, he produced. And I was doing the same thing with Boozer at the beginning of the year. I was watching him and I was like,
And I'm sure you've received some texts from me. Hey, look at what Boozer did tonight. Hey,
Yeah.
look at what Boozer, because you were hating on him.
and I was texting you and I was like, I don't care. He's playing against these tiny guys, whatever. But then we saw him go through the tournament against great teams.
Even though he didn't end well.
Yeah. I mean, he looked, but against UConn where he's playing against, and I guess, I don't know, I'm sure I'm going to get flamed for this because the UConn guys are also small, maybe, whatever. But like, at some point, it's just like, if he's bullying people on every level, why is that going to stop in the NBA?
Right. I also think he has like just winning traits. Like some guys have winning character traits.
Yeah.
I wonder what his comparison is. I mean, I think his ceiling is like maybe he could be a Jokic style player. He's not a good passer. He can also be like a Banchero kind of player, maybe. It's an interesting. He's a weird one.
He's a tweener. We won't know.
You know
We
what?
won't know until
I
we
saw
see
a
it.
great comment was like, if he was European, he'd be number 1 overall. But like because he's American and unathletic, guys are like a little uncomfortable.
Right.
'Cause,
That's
like,
what I'm saying.
Americans need to be athletic. You got to be a great athlete if you're American. That's what we think of great players.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. I don't know how we got here.
I don't either. But the last thing I will say, if I'm choosing between him or Darren Peterson, who leaves games early for fake injuries, fake cramps, whatever, at least the guy shows up and wanted to win and made a run in the tournament, like got to the Elite Eight instead of just being someone who's like trying to get out of college as soon as possible and is just there to collect his NIL. So I want people who try hard and win. So I will say that. I'll take him over Darren Peterson.
Okay. So by the way, I agree with you. I also think Darren Peterson, I think there's a lot of behind the scenes that we don't know.
That's fine.
I'm not done with
Good
him yet. Maybe. I did, you know, the movie Draft Day? You ever watched it?
Yeah.
Classic. And one of the big moments is like, no one went to the quarterback's birthday party. Like, he's like, no one went to his birthday party.
Yeah.
No one liked him. And this is not the case, but you do see, like, I watched some of these interviews post game with Darren Peterson, and like the rest of college had this whole trend. Everyone's standing behind the guy getting interviewed and throwing towels on him. And then Darren Peterson put up good numbers and none of his teammates were behind him. So it was interesting. I'm not going to make that claim that they don't like him. I still think, I mean, when he looks good, he looks fantastic. But I do tend to agree with you that I want my guys to want to play. It didn't feel like that. It could be he was getting bad advice from his agent or whatever. But I agree with you. If I had to pick right now, I got to go Boozer because at least I know what I'm getting. I'm getting the guy who's going to work his butt off.
Yeah, Pat McAfee calls those beers with the boys.
Like, you need a beers with the boys guy.
Yeah, exactly. So he's like Fernando Mendoza, beers with the boys.
I like that.
That's how he describes it. Like he'll say, "Is this a beers with the boys?"
The
kind of
Oregon
guy.
quarterback who chose to go back to college to avoid the Jets. No beer with the boys, all right? We don't like you.
Yeah.
Okay, back to the trade. So they believe they were building a dynasty. A couple of things clearly didn't work. One is the Kobe and Dwight dynamic, which is pretty obvious.
The Kobe and anyone dynamic.
Kobe and
generally
anyone,
doesn't work.
and especially Kobe and Biggs, right?
Right.
Unless it's Pau Gasol.
And Biggs, who are considered stars, and maybe people are gonna, God forbid, say that they're better than him.
So Dwight Howard was dealing with his recovering from a back surgery, and Kobe's intensity and leadership style. There's a lot of tension. Didn't like the way Kobe treated him, and that was it. One and done. Howard, after one season left, because he didn't trust the roster stability, Steve Nash was done, basically. I think he retired right after that. He wanted his own team again.
Right. The Lakers probably thought that they were going to be able to re-sign him because they're the Lakers. Who can't they re-sign?
And we have Kobe and we have Nash. We're going to win this year, and then they're going to come back.
Right. And instead, right out the door. It's interesting that it wasn't contingent on him re-signing the trade.
That's very interesting because nowadays, the second that happens, they sign them. They don't let the year end. They sign them immediately.
The player negotiates with the new team first.
Before the trade, yeah. So
the trade won't go through until the player has a contract from the new team.
Yeah, I don't have the answer on why that didn't happen. I think Dwight wanted to reach free agency. He wanted like the freedom to like get like have suitors and then get to choose.
Yeah.
What's funny is that at the time, Lakers became the super team favorites, and the Magic were the losers of the trade. In the end, the Magic ended up getting an all-star center for a long time with Vucevic.
Yeah, and some other guys. I think they ended up drafting Alfred Payton. Aaron Aflalo was a good player on their team for a while.
Aflalo was like an immediate like guy, like, but he wasn't a long term. Like Vucevic was long term, you know.
Yeah. And Vucevic, I'm assuming they probably traded at some point and got something back for it.
They traded him to the Bulls eventually. Yeah. I was fascinated with the Andre Iguodala part of this. I didn't know Andre Iguodala was part of this trade.
Yeah.
I remember Dwight ending up on the I remember Dwight ending up on the Lakers. I didn't even really remember he got traded. I kind of just remembered he was there for a little bit.
Yeah.
It was a weird time with the lockout, like a little hazy, but very interesting. Nuggets got Iguodala, and he became a star there. I mean, he was already a star, but the Nuggets have really helped him. And then later they moved him to the Warriors, and he wins titles. The funniest part to me of this trade is the Sixers just took like a big swing for Andrew Bynum. They thought he was going to be their future, and nothing. They're the biggest loser in this trade, and it's classic. If you look at organizations that do well, like the Sixers constantly make these kinds of mistakes.
Yeah. The Sixers, they cannot win. It's not in their DNA.
Yeah. I pulled up the stats just of what these guys did right after. So, right, Dwight Howard, he's already kind of downhill at this point, right? After one season, he leaves the Lakers. He goes to Houston where he averaged 15 and 12, and then he goes to Atlanta and averages 13 and 12. He wasn't the best center in the league anymore. He became more of a defensive player and a role player, you know?
Yeah, but they had some good years on Houston, no?
Yeah.
Like, I remember them making like a run in the playoffs.
You remember that Josh Smith and then Dwight Howard run?
Yeah, James Harden.
Yeah. I think they came back down 3-1 versus the Clippers, right?
Yeah, like it wasn't nothing, but after that,
his 1 year, by the way, on the Lakers, 17 points per game, 12 rebounds, 2 blocks. It's not bad at all.
Yeah.
But he was coming out for back injury, and he wasn't the same explosive. Still a good rebounder defender, but not offensively. Steve Nash averaged 12 and 6 that year with he only played 50 games. Vucevic breaks out that season, 13 points, 12 rebounds a game. Aflalo, he's short term. He was the best win now guy. 16 a game for the Magic. Now Harrington 5 a game. Andrew Bynum starts 0 games. Iguodala 13-5-5. So a lot of these guys were real impact players. But yeah, Andrew Bynum, that's the funniest one, never played. That was it.
So you think that right, I guess because he never played, they lost more than the Lakers. Like, they're a bigger loser
Yeah,
than
because
the
the
Lakers.
Lakers, I guess, what did they really give away? They gave away Vucevic, who was a prospect. Like, he wasn't like a guy.
Yeah.
The Lakers lost because of just the way it went down. But the biggest loser is the Sixers. I mean, you got nothing. And they were a playoff team the year before, and they were trying to, like, literally they got rid of Iguodala
Right.
to make, like, they were like, this is our future center, Andrew Bynum, and then he didn't even play. So my order of winners to losers, I guess we could do our scores. But in my, like, I think the Magic were the biggest winner.
Yeah.
You got Vucevic, he became an all-star. They had a couple of other guys play well for them. Then you get the Nuggets, who they get Iguodala. So
Yeah.
that's a good win. Then I think it's Lakers because whatever, you got a season with Dwight, and it wasn't the worst loss ever. Like, it wasn't terrible.
Right.
And then the Sixers, who gave up Iguodala and traded for Bynum, like, just a terrible trade.
Yeah, I agree.
Should we do some scores? We don't need a score for every team. I think we should just do for the Lakers. That was my main thought, was on Dwight Howard ending up there. It was just a fun, like, footnote and afterthought that Vucevic and Iguodala became part of this trade.
Yeah. So how bad was it for the Lakers?
Yeah, I mean, it's a bad trade because when you think about it, right, at that point, they're going for a star, and they could have gotten another star that would have been a lot better fit and someone who would have worked. Also, Dwight Howard was clearly not, himself. They're paying a premium for a guy who is not premium anymore. I'd say, like, on the bad trade, I'm going to give it like a 6.2.
But what did they give up? They didn't give up so much.
They gave up 4 players, right?
Yeah, but no one great. This is classic Lakers, they just...
That's true. This is classic Lakers because, like, Bynum never played again.
Yeah, so I'm like, to me, I don't even think it impacted them so much. I think the best point you made was that they could have traded for someone else.
Yeah.
They didn't. But in terms of, like, the assets they gave up, it wasn't much.
But then part of the reason why I give it this bad score is they brought him into the building and let him leave.
Yeah.
That's the part. They left a year later. If he didn't work out for them, fine. If he played 4 years, you make this move to, like, build your future, and then he leaves. You don't sign him. He leaves the next year.
Yeah, I'm gonna put it at a 4.3. I don't think it's so egregious, but I like, yeah, you never want to lose someone for nothing. But they took a swing.
I
They
mean,
got him for a year.
you see that they weren't good from then for a while after that.
Yeah, but that was probably other reasons. I mean, a lot of it was just Kobe. Like,
But this was a part of it. Like, this was their end of Kobe, next era, like, guy, and it didn't work out.
right? They didn't do the good. They didn't trade for Luka.
Right. I will say the biggest plus in this is they didn't give away a lot of they didn't give away picks.
That's what I'm saying. They didn't really give away anything.
And you got rid of Bynum, who ended up like his career being over.
Right. And Dwight, he didn't play so well after he left. Like, it's not like he was this great player.
Right.
If they re-signed him to a max, that might have been worse for them. If they signed him to a massive 4-year...
Yeah, that's a little zag right there. That's a pretty good point. So you're saying maybe it's better they didn't even sign him.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, again, like, you gave up assets, you lost assets. Maybe they could have used those assets towards better things, whatever. Who knows? So, like, you never want to just, like, give up something for nothing.
Right.
But it ended up not being the worst thing in the world. Now, that being said, they probably wanted to resign him, and he didn't want to. So they screwed up the relationship, and they made a bad decision in that regard. But did it hurt them in the long run not re-signing him? I don't know. I mean, like you're saying, they played bad anyways afterwards. So
Right. No, it's a good point. Maybe it didn't hurt them in the long run, but the fact that they made this trade and then couldn't re-sign him, like, that's the part that I think is weak and bad. Like, is that they made this move and then, like, clearly didn't work it through where they had a guaranteed contract in place.
Right. Like, it was a bad look for, right. Like, what are you doing with that? I don't know. I mean, I guess we've seen it a couple times that it happens.
I mean, the best example of it working in that situation is Kawhi Leonard, right? The Raptors basically rent him for a year.
Yeah.
And he still leaves, but he won a championship, so they got what they wanted.
That was crazy.
One day there'll be a documentary on what went down behind the scenes there, because there's a lot that people don't talk about there. One is that Kawhi had some serious injury. I mean, do you remember he was playing on one leg for a lot of those playoffs? the other is that after they won, a couple of them, Kawhi and Kyle Lowry, both said in interviews, like some weird comments like if you guys knew what was going on behind the scenes, or if you guys like that there was something serious going on that they really battled through. I'd love to know one day the story of that. I think it's one of the most underrated finals runs by an individual player, maybe ever. I
Yeah.
mean, he in that run, he hits the game-winning shot in Game 7.
That's an insane
He
shot.
beats Giannis and outplays him, comes back from down 2-1, I think, on one leg and guards him. Then he goes and beats the Sixers with the shot. Then who do they win? They be in the conference finals. That might be where they beat Giannis. And then they go beat the Warriors. I know, KD and then Clay gets hurt. So their championship was a little like questionable because it was, they got some injury luck.
A lot of injury luck.
A ton of injury luck. But the fact that they went and him on one leg, like went and did what he did, it's one of those runs that like, I don't think it's talked about enough, but that is probably because of the injury and he left. But it's pretty unbelievable run. I remember watching some of those games, maybe against the Bucks and definitely against in some other series where like Kawhi was just unbelievable.
Yeah. So they beat the Magic in the first round, then the Sixers in 7, and then the
Bucks in 6,
in 6,
and then Warriors,
and then the
6.
Warriors in 6.
It's funny because that series, I do remember that. I thought the Warriors, if they pulled out Game 6, they were going to win Game 7. But then Clay gets hurt. Like I thought they were going to still win even without KD. But
Yeah.
so that was a lot of injury luck.
And if AI is correct, then only Michael Jordan and LeBron James have scored more points in a single playoff run.
Makes sense.
Obviously, the famous buzzer beater, and they went down 0-2 against the Bucks.
0-2 against the Bucks
And won 4 straight.
And he dominated those. Like he took over the series and he dominated it. It's definitely a great run.
I love Kawhi. I thought Kawhi was going to be the GOAT when he was on the Spurs.
I mean, that injury, the who was it, Zaza stepping under him, that was a real, like, that ended that team, the Warriors went 73-9. The Spurs had a better home record. The Spurs went 41-1 at home that year, or 40-1 at home that year.
Yeah.
So that Spurs team was all time, and then Kawhi up 20 in Game 1. Zaza steps under him, he rolls his ankle, series over. They don't even win that game. They lose a 20-point lead right after he gets hurt.
He's such a bipolar player, though, now at the end of his career. There's some weird stuff.
He's an injury guy.
He gets injured a lot.
Mike Hull is a little bit like, right, he's a little shady. They say his uncle is very, like, doing some shady stuff.
Yeah.
His uncle's his agent.
He loves coupons, big coupons guy.
I think I compare him a little to Todd Gurley. Like, Todd Gurley was like a superstar and then just had like tendonitis in his knees and just ended. And he's still 5 years after retired was leading the league in touchdowns over like a 10-year span.
Yeah, but the difference is that Todd Gurley was gone. Kawhi's still
around. And by the way, Kawhi had one of his best seasons of his career this year.
Yeah.
When people like are like, he shouldn't even be playing anymore. So he's an enigma.
Yeah.
He'll like, that's why they need a documentary on him. And his laugh. Like, we just need to know what's behind all of it.
And he's getting paid so much money. And who even knows how much money? Because some of it's under the table.
Right. There's some things I kind of like. There's some rumors I kind of like that. Like LeBron tried to recruit him for Lakers and he's like, nah, I'm going to go to Clippers and beat you. Like, I kind of like that. It didn't happen, but and by the way, if you want to talk about dynasty builders, he forced the Clippers to get Paul George. He's like, I'll sign with you. You get Paul George. So
I thought the story though was that they gave him a list and they were like, who do you want? And he was like, Paul George.
Could be, but I think it was like, I'm not signing unless you get someone, and that made the Clippers have to give up way more than they maybe want.
Wow, maybe that.
Either way.
Also, this is my favorite part. He's like super quiet, and if I remember correctly, when he was leaving the Raptors, it was a 3-way battle in free agency, right? It was between the Raptors, the Clippers, and the Lakers, and there was all this noise, all these leaks coming out of the Clippers and the Lakers. Things were being intentionally leaked, all this stuff.
Yeah.
And then a report came out, and I think it was from an insider who was like, maybe Ramona, who was like, Kawhi hates leaks. And that's why the Raptors, you haven't heard anything from the Raptors because they've got everything.
They're not leaking anything.
Yeah, they're not leaking everything. And at that point, there were 0 leaks from the Clippers or the Lakers
After that,
for
that's so
about a
funny.
week. And then it actually happened that he signed with the Clippers, and that was that. But it was like one of the only times where there were no
leaks
rumblings.
because they wanted to keep like if we leak, we might lose him.
Right. The second that report came out that he hates when like things get leaked, all of a sudden, okay, everyone's quiet.
But that's the only rental I can think of that really worked. A 1-year rental. Usually, when you get a guy, you gotta sign him long term right then.
Yeah.
So what did we say? We said scores. I said 6.2.
Yeah, you said 6.2. I said 4.3.
All right. We covered a ton of topics in this episode. So we're all over the place. We like to get gritty, nitty gritty, and talk about everything. So
Yeah. And
hope you enjoy.
Thank you for listening to The Trade Rewind. You can find us on social media at The Trade Rewind on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. If you enjoy listening to the show, the best thing you can do for us is to leave us a 5-star on Spotify and share the episode.